Welcome to OATS Uncut, Auditor Academy Talks Uncut, where we like to keep our conversations real, relevant, relatable, and very, very important, and hopefully inspiring as well. And with inspiration in mind, we also look up to leaders who inspire us. And we don't realize often that the power to elect those leaders and seat those leaders is in our hands. And with that in mind, this is a special segment on OATS Uncut called Elevating Essex. Why? Because the Essex County primaries are on June 2nd, and we are trying to get to know the candidates for the Commissioner-At-Large. And I'd like to welcome Deb Engel. Deb, welcome to OATS Uncut.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here today.
It's a pleasure. And it's Deborah, not Deb, or on the ballot.
My full name is Deborah.
Deborah. So on the ballot, it'll be Deborah Engel.
Yes. And my nickname is Deb. Easier to say. When I was little, I had trouble with R's. Yeah, so Deb. But it's one E, Deborah Engel.
Deborah Engel. Wonderful. All right. So Deborah, you are from the town of Maplewood.
Correct.
You have been very active in the community. You've been serving in several forms and positions and platforms. You were also the deputy mayor at one point.
Correct.
So commissioner is 10 times, 22 times what you are used to so far. So at what point did you feel you were ready to serve the county with 22 municipalities and not just one?
Sure. So I started my community work really as a small business owner in South Orange. And through that, I joined the Special Improvement District and was on the executive board and chair of that organization. And then I also opened up a business in Maplewood. And when the pandemic happened and the shutdowns happened, I sprang into small business advocacy, which is when I ran for Maplewood Township Committee and served for 3 years, 1 year as deputy mayor, and I finished last December. And the reason why I decided then to step up and run for county was because I saw how separate our municipalities each are. We're 22 municipalities in one county, but we're solving some really important challenges on our own, like stormwater, affordability, aging infrastructure, a lot of different things. So I felt like that was something, I'm a community builder, and I thought that that was something I could bring to the table, bring everybody together. And then there's also things I was working on that I thought would be better to work on a county level, like complete streets. Like I'm a big advocate for moving away from a car-centric culture and having more pedestrian bike lanes, public transportation. And so I thought that we needed that more of an interconnectivity on a county level. And then I also saw in both Maplewood and South Orange where we have a lot of shared services. And I think we have an affordability crisis here in Essex County. And I think shared services and partnering together is one way to help ease those tax burdens.
Absolutely.
And so we have a shared school district, a shared fire department. Under my leadership, we have a shared health department. And I feel like there's ways that the county can help offer incentives to municipalities and help them figure out how to do that. Like when in South Orange, the way that the health departments became one is that somebody retired. So when you have an opening, that's an opportunity to look at your neighbors and see like, well, how can we work together?
No, that's amazing. So you have started exploring as to what the pain points are with each municipality. What are they struggling with and what are they hoping that you will effect change for them?
Yeah. So like when I go around and start talking to everybody, some common themes emerge, right? Like,
right, of course.
Like what is a county commissioner? Nobody really knows what a county commissioner does, or that 15% of your taxes go to the county budget, and the commissioners are the one who decides where the money goes. And so I feel like just having better communication with our residents and better communication from the county to the municipalities is really important and something that I can bring to the table as a commissioner, as my background before small business ownership was communications. And then the second thing is affordability. Housing prices are really high, whether you're buying or renting. Healthcare prices are really high. Electrical prices are high. Now gas prices are high. And all the school districts are struggling with their budgets for these same line items. And we see around the district, around the county, that a lot of teachers are being let go because you have to make the budgets work.
Insurance is going up.
Yeah, and that's one of the main lines. And so like one idea I had, and it wasn't mine, but I like talking to smart people and taking their ideas and figuring out how to make them work. But like a lot of people are still on that state healthcare plan that the costs keep going up and up and up. Some people are getting off the plan. Well, Essex County, can we kind of work together and figure out if their healthcare consortium or whatever the right language is that we can offer to partner up, or what services can we also offer to everybody in our county who may have lost their health insurance when the subsidies went away. We do have a lot of vaccination vans, well checkup vans. How can we better serve our community while we're figuring out how to make this budget line a little smaller?
Right. So you feel you know enough, or through this process of campaigning, you've learned enough about the other municipalities that you will be able to serve them equitably.
Yeah. So, I mean, campaigning, this election season is so crazy because we've had, so many elections in 2026, and it's a short timetable. So I don't really think that my research is stopping on June 2nd. I've gone to, I hit every 22 municipalities. Like, I don't think I've gotten to every 22 yet, but I plan to, and I keep planning on learning because, I want to win, and then there's another election in November. But I think it's really important to stay on the ground because I know what people are saying now, and a month from now, some of those needs may change or shift, or we'll see what happens in municipal elections, or we see what happens this summer with like the war. Like, there's a lot of different, life doesn't stay stagnant. It's continuing to change. And so I think it's really important to just keep being out there and connecting.
Absolutely right. And I also feel that through this process, you yourself are educating yourself about the county.
Yes.
And I see that when I talk to you, I hear that from you. And that was my experience too for the 4 weeks that I thought I would be running myself.
I liked when you were in the campaign.
So those 4 weeks, I felt that I started connecting better with my county, and I actually would laugh and tell people that if nothing else, I would come out having learned so much more about Essex County that I didn't know, and shame on me for not having known that before. But the thing is, we all live in our own bubbles.
We do.
So it's sometimes, and life comes in the way, and I guess there's passion, there's drive, and there is also sometimes time.
Yeah.
That one must have to be able to serve.
It's true.
Yeah, and you're very right. People did not know what a commissioner does. And now that we have so many candidates in this race, and each one is talking about what they see and what they think they can affect, I think the constituents are learning and understanding more about the community in general, the larger Essex County community, because it's a huge budget.
Yeah.
It's close to $1 billion budget that the commissioners handle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did not even realize that my town pays close to $40 million in budget to Essex County.
Yeah.
I'm wondering where the money is going. So we'll talk
about
that later.
Right? Where is the money going? But you're right. Like, I just want to touch on what you said. Now that the line went away and we have a lot of people who've been sitting in these seats for a long time retiring, it does give an opportunity for new voices to come in and talk openly about the issues that are affecting Essex County. It's a good time for residents to get engaged with what's happening, for candidates to get engaged, to have that dialogue, and to teach a little bit about civics education.
100%.
Because, and I think that at least when I was growing up, we didn't learn much about civic education. And I think it's just really important when democracy is on fire to start talking about it and to have competitive elections so that people have a choice, so that they know that their vote is their voice, and then that they can be part of the process. And I also want to mention what I didn't know. One thing I learned, to your point, is that the county, just like towns have boards and commissions where they appoint residents, so does the county. And like, how do you get on a board and commission? Right. What are they?
Right.
So one of the things I want to do is communicate that and recruit people from all 22 municipalities and all walks of life and all subject matter experts so that they can give their voice. So if you don't have time like we do, or crazy like we are, for running for county commissioner, you can give a little bit of your time in an area where you're an expert in by serving on one of these boards and commissions.
Like people, my family sometimes thinks I'm totally cuckoo.
Same.
Because I was very active in the school PTAs, and then I served on the zoning board. I retired as a vice chair. Then I served on the open space where I met our friend Alan Glazer. And then I am currently serving on the planning board. And when I interviewed for the planning board, because I got on the planning board last year, January, they said to me, you are vice chair of the zoning board. Aren't you stepping down to join the planning board? I said, no, but I've never served on the planning board. I need to learn how you guys function. So it's all about my own hunger, my own desire to learn about where I'm living.
Yeah.
So I think that's what kind of fires you up.
For sure, 100%. And I agree. Like, I learn by doing.
Yeah.
So sometimes I want to raise my hand and work on something so I actually understand how it works.
Absolutely.
Like I'm like the kind, like I've started 2 businesses. They were innovative businesses. One was a co-working space with an on-site licensed childcare center.
Wow.
And the other was a
Nice.
co-retail space where we put complementary businesses under one roof to help with the financial costs, the mental load, the staffing, like everything of running a brick and mortar, and to test business ideas. And a lot of them have now like opened up their own shops.
Amazing.
But I feel like I sometimes like don't know what I'm doing, and I feel like a lot of sometimes these systems are like really broken, and so you have to learn the current systems and how they work in order to kind of like break them down and build them up again.
And I think when you do something beyond your own home and you see something working out or somebody being grateful for something that you did not for yourself.
Yeah.
It is so gratifying.
It is. It's so gratifying. Like my favorite thing is, so I have been a big bike lane advocate in Maplewood and South Orange.
And us too, please. I mean, if you get elected,
Yeah.
God willing,
Yeah.
then please keep Livingston in mind. We need bike lanes too.
I will. And the funny thing is though, like I never learned how to ride a bike. So I'm for alternative transportation modes because I see another thing that's happening in all the municipalities is an increase in the amount of traffic, cars, speeding. And so I feel like if we build it, they will come. If we create bike lanes, pedestrian walkways, better public transit, like some areas
gas
are in
is getting
transit,
expensive.
right? Gas is expensive. And some areas are in a transit desert. They don't have buses or they don't have trains. Or like electric charging stations, better the infrastructure for electric vehicles to move away from gas vehicles, to your point.
Yeah.
Like I feel like then we can start moving away from the car. Like the biggest challenge in bike lanes is parking. Nobody wants to lose their parking.
Right.
When you start seeing there's other modes of travel that don't require your parking, then we can start changing human behavior and then people might be more open to it.
Yeah, I mean, when I remember first visited Netherlands and I came out of the train station and I looked to my right and I saw a big parking lot with not a single car, packed with bikes. And I actually loved that side because then I was thinking, I see so many families on bikes.
Yeah.
My cousin who now moved from San Francisco, he was teaching at Stanford University, and now he's moved to Delft in Netherlands. And he and his 2 girls and his wife, they all go out on bikes all the time. So 4 bikes, it's just so sweet to even see.
Yeah.
And planet friendly.
Yeah.
Pocket friendly.
Yeah, pedestrian friendly, safety.
Pedestrian friendly, though, no, not necessarily.
Well, you have to learn
Not
how to
in
ride
Holland.
a bike safely, I guess.
I went 2 years ago. I went back 2 years ago and I was warned that be careful of the bikers because they will not stop.
Right. You do have to learn, you have to obey, you have to,
in today's time and age
wear a
with
helmet.
we live in this, for people like us who live in suburbs, we have the land. We have the land to create the bike lanes before completely we run out of space.
Yeah. I mean, there are some challenges because like roads are narrow, so there are some challenges, but I feel like that there's ways that we can work. And this won't be something that'll happen like tomorrow.
New York City has bikes.
They have bike lanes, but the county also owns a lot of roads and they manage them. And and I just want them to start thinking when they're looking at a road improvement project to start thinking with this complete street mindset of adding bike lanes. Like in Maplewood and South Orange, they just repaved all of Valley Street and put up new traffic lights. And I see them posting, happy with the project. But like, I don't know why they never considered bike lanes or anything on that project.
Well, that's a very good thought to have. All right. So you love to talk.
I do. I like babble. I'm sorry. And I talk fast. Sorry, audience.
No, it's great because I feel there's a lot of energy and a lot of passion in you that is coming out through your words and your speech. So all good. But so my question was about communication. The next question.
Oh, yeah.
You have been serving at the municipal level and you are an entrepreneur yourself and a parent. Yes. So navigating through life, generally speaking, I can see that you are a good communicator. So if elected, you will be communicating with the 22 different municipalities of very different dynamic.
Yes.
That and also a different demographic of people that you may have to work with, including your own town officials, your county officials, then taxpayers, because we're all very upset that Essex County has such high taxes.
Yes.
Then the roads, and then the developers.
Yes.
So how do you think you will appease or create peace in the room where somebody is not happy with what you just said or something that you signed?
Yeah, well, I'm a collaborator and I like to bring people together and build consensus. So I think the most important thing about communication is listening, and not necessarily just talking to the people elected in the municipal office. You do. You have to have a line of communication to them, and you have to speak to them. But also speak to business owners, speak to nonprofit leaders, speak to other community leaders, speak to advocates, and just start building relationships with people. I think I'm very good at building a relationship builder. I think I love meeting people. I love talking to people, and it's a talent of mine. And I just think that you need to always keep those lines up, not just when you're running for office, but keep visiting, keep going back. And I joke, like, sometimes I really like to go visit small businesses. It's like I like to go to any town and just walk down their downtowns or walk where they have some retail or storefronts. And I don't always say, like, hi, I'm running for office, nice to meet you. I just like to go and listen and talk and chat like a regular customer, because I feel like that social listening, you also learn a lot. Reading the Facebook posts, you learn a lot. And so I feel like, but to answer your question, so I'm not on a tangent, not everyone is ever going to agree on an issue. And in fact, we don't want everybody to agree on every single issue, because you need different voices, different perspectives, because to understand what the unintended consequences of the policy is. And you need different voices at the table to create the best policy for the most amount of people. You're never going to get 100% of Essex County on board to what you do. But you want to get as many people as possible, as many stakeholders as possible. And you want to make sure that the people the policies affect are in the room to be able to offer their opinions and thoughts. I'll give an example. When I was serving on the South Orange Village Center Alliance, which is the special improvement board, the village passed a reusable bag ban. They did the first reading, and that was the first time the business community had ever heard about this. And banning plastic bags was going to have a big impact on our small businesses. And so we said, like, hey, like, what's going on? Can we talk about this? Like, we're not against it, but like, there's some details in your ordinance that aren't the best for the business community. So what we did was we put together a working group that consisted of the business community, the environmental commission, and the municipality leaders, government. And we sat at the table and we talked about what the issues were. One issue was the time, right? Like, a lot of businesses will have stockpiled their plastic bags. So they asked, could we just have, instead of starting in September, can it start in January, so we have time to use through our supply and then bring in the brown bags? And the other issue was the fee. Our neighbor Maplewood had already passed this ordinance and had a different fee than South Orange was bringing to the table. And we said, we're one community, we have a school district, everyone shops in both towns. Can we just have the same fee amongst both towns? And I think they were surprised that the business community was so on board, because I think a lot of people want sustainable initiatives to happen, but it was just bringing everybody to the table to come together and agree on the terms so that everybody can get up behind it, instead of like one side just doing something that pisses the other side off.
Yeah, that's a wonderful story.
Thank you.
Story. So you did say in your past answer that you love reaching out to people, and not just for election purposes, otherwise. So that is another concern people have, that candidates typically show up when the elections are on, when they're campaigning, and then you don't see them for the rest of their term, and then they're. And people have said that about incumbents in general, in other capacities as well. So I don't think that is a problem with you.
Yeah. And I'll admit, I'm sure some people might say that about me in Maplewood, because once you're elected, you only have a certain amount of time. But I do think it's really important to be out there, and it is something that I'm going to be focusing on, to have touch points. Again, this wasn't my idea, but somebody at that West Essex forum that we did talked about having the commissioner meetings, getting them out of Newark and having them at each different municipality. There's 22 municipalities to rotate it. I think that's a fabulous idea.
That's a fabulous
And it's something I would bring to the table, because then it's engaging new municipalities each time. If you're holding it in Livingston, or you're holding it in in Irvington or Orange, anything, then you can have the constituents come and you can have public speaks, and you can actually hear what's going on the ground.
Absolutely.
And it's a way to combine the two, communication back and forth, plus communicating to the public about what the commissioners are actually doing.
And when you visit the municipality yourself, as you drive through to get to the town hall where the meeting will be, imagining that scenario, then of course you get to see the district, the community up close and personal.
Exactly. I'm joking around that I'm like eating my way around Essex County, because every time I'm driving around, I'll take a picture of like a restaurant or a cafe or something that looks good, and then I go back with a friend.
No, I think that's
check it out.
We gotta carry each other.
Yeah.
We gotta carry each other. That's the only way the municipality will do well and the county will do well.
True.
So
I forgot to mention something before when you were asking about, I'm from Maplewood, a smaller, suburban town, and we also have big cities in our district. And I just want to mention, I do think it's important to have, we have 9 commissioners, to have people from each, type of municipality that we have or city that we have. Because I know better the suburban landscape, and then there's other people who know better the city landscape. And I'm going to learn and listen and meet with everybody. But again, I think it's important to have different types of voices. You don't want the same type of voice around the table. So I just wanted to bring attention to that.
No, that is absolutely a very valid point. So thank you for remembering to share that with us as well. So now, assuming you get elected.
Vote for me, 1E.
Vote 1E.
Yes.
So assuming you get elected, and then your term is 3 years? It's a 3-year term?
4 years.
4-year term? So say...
I guess I have to fact check myself. I haven't learned everything yet.
Well,
I think it's 4.
At this point, I guess it's of less relevance.
Yeah.
What you are as a candidate is definitely far more relevant than the term.
Yes.
So you get elected, you serve 1 term, then you do well, and then you get re-elected. Say at the end of 2 terms, what would you want people to say that, this happened because of her? Because she served in this seat.
Yeah.
Something that is glaring to you, and something that is really revving you up, and say, the first thing that I want to do is fix that.
Yeah. I think there's 3 things that come to mind. The short term is communications. I want to better our website. I want to better communications from the county to the municipality government, from the county to the residents, and from the municipality to the municipality. So I want to build community and just have stronger communication with everybody. I think the county has great services, especially in health and social services, but people don't necessarily know about them. And I think especially people who are struggling through mental health crisis or addiction crisis, you want to be able to go to the website and find that information. Sometimes it's just a couple sentences, this is what's offered, but there's no clicks, there's no information, there's no resources, and then you get really, it makes it worse. And so I just want to make that easier for people. And that's low-hanging fruit that we can do right away.
That is a low-hanging fruit for sure.
Second is I want to focus on sustainability issues. I want to focus on, and it relates to affordability too, right? We're all doing recycling. Not all of our recycling is actually being recycled. Recycling is very expensive with the pickups. Is there something that the county can do so that maybe we can leverage our buying power or start our own pickup or whatever it is, and maybe look into composting as well. And other sustainable issues around stormwater management, electric vehicle infrastructure, that kind of thing. Because I think climate change is a very important issue to tackle, and we need to be doing that together, not individual municipality. And the third thing is that complete streets idea that I mentioned. It's one thing to have a complete streets resolution that we want to focus on complete streets, but it's more to actually implement it. And I really, a passion project of mine is to move away from this car-centric culture and to be able to change human behavior. So I want to do that on a county-wide level, to just have that in mind when we're looking at our road. I said this before, so I'm repeating myself. At our road programs, at our public transportation, and make sure people are connected. I've heard that in other counties they actually have maps and really good tools so that people can be I want to go from point A to point C. Here are the different ways that I can get there. And Essex County doesn't have that. So that's a low-hanging fruit too, to show what's actually existing, and then where are the holes and what can we improve on it.
That's wonderful. So well, 3 very clear ideas. Extremely important points of view that you shared, very valid, and I'm sure they resonate with not just 1 or 2. I think they resonate all across Essex County.
Yeah, and they lead back to that affordability problem, right? Because again, we have an affordability crisis, so we need to be more transparent and understand where our money is going, and not just say our taxes are going to go up every year and more every year. We need to start looking at how can we save some money. How can we save some money with shared services? I should have mentioned that, as a priority, right? I mentioned that before, right? Yeah. All the things that we talked about before in affordability. So and just so that the residents have a better idea of where their money's going, and more accountability and transparency from the county.
I'm very happy that out of the 3 points that you shared, the first one is communication.
Oh yeah.
Because if you don't talk to each other, we cannot resolve anything, we cannot fix anything. We need to first know how to communicate and connect.
Yes, I agree. And my background before small business ownership was communications. I've always been a storyteller. I've always been a writer. I did PR, marketing, all the things. And I think that's really important to be able to, maybe I'm babbling here. Maybe I'm better at the writing of it. But it's important because everyone has a story, and it's important to share your story, and it's important to have those listening skills so you can hear someone else's story.
Absolutely. Before we close, is there anything you'd like to say to the audience?
I'm so happy to be here. I love chatting with you. I love talking about the issues of Essex County. I'm sure there's like many more things I can say. I'm running with the Essex Reform Democrats because we're really looking for some change in the party, more accountability, more transparency, more fairness, open elections, ranked choice voting, like all these things to help with our democracy and to help bring new voices to the table. And so I'm just excited for the opportunity. I'm excited that we have a competitive election so that you all can engage. My email or Facebook or Instagram, where everything's always open. So I'd love to hear from you if you want to share anything that's on your mind, offer feedback, want to volunteer now until June 2nd. And then just vote for 1E. And my website is Deb Engel, DEBENGEL, for Essex.com. And you can sign up or contact me there too.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful having you. Such a pleasure to talk to you.
You too.
And good luck with this election.
Thank you so much. I hope we can do it again sometime before the November election.
Yes! You know, this is a special segment that I introduced only for these 2 weeks. This is about elevating Essex, because Essex County is going through elections. The primaries are on June 2nd for the seat of commissioners, and there are 4 commissioners at large, 4 seats to be filled, 1 incumbent and 3 brand new commissioners at large, and 2 for district?
2 for district? There's 5. Oh, no, there's no competition for the district seat.
No competition.
Yep.
But see, this is how informal we are,
Yes.
that I haven't even introduced my guest and I'm already asking questions. But you know what? This is casual. This is life. Not everything should be scripted. Let me welcome Abdur Yasin. Abdur, welcome to OATS UNCUT.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So Abdur is also a candidate aspiring to be a commissioner-at-large for Essex County. Abdur is the head of the Democratic Party in West Orange, where he lives. Yep. He's also the fire captain in West Orange, and he also teaches part-time at Rutgers University in public administration. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty diverse profile that you have. What was the time when you felt that all of this had prepared you to serve at the county level? That is my first question to all the candidates that I've talked to so far.
Sure, and that's a fair question. And just for note, I'm also a union leader in both capacities, right?
See?
Whether in the fire union where I work, as well as at Rutgers. But really the first time I thought about running for county office, and actually it was for this position, formerly when it was called freeholder, was around 2013. Actually, I was a student in the Eagleton Institute of Politics, and at the time, that kind of just sort of, developed my interest more in politics. Obviously, I was in and around it, and I spoke to one of my professors at the time about running for freeholder. And then a year later, I joined the committee in West Orange, right, and became a district leader. And then 4 years after that, I ran for chair in 2018. And that was actually part of my platform. I gave my bio, I said at the time I was working for the fire department, a union leader and so on. But I really felt that it was important for West Orange, where it's positioned in the county, the size of the community, the size of its electoral base, to have, an at-large seat at the table. And, we have the 2 county parks, Eagle Rock Reservation, South Mountain Reservation.
It's beautiful, yeah.
Right. We have other county assets, including the Office of Emergency Management there. The Turtleback Zoo, as well as Cody Arena.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have over 1 million visitors that come to those 2 facilities, as well as, county roads and so on. So I just felt that it was important for us to have, a seat at the table with respect to, at large.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. So now West Orange is one of the 22 municipalities of Essex County.
Yes.
How do you hope to equitably serve all other counties as well as you've known and served West Orange?
So the way I look at it is like this. right? In my capacity as a firefighter, I'm specifically assigned to a mutual aid company, right? So already, whenever there are fires outside of West Orange, my engine 2, actually goes to those. But, I really started to understand, the aspects of this question during the process before the convention. I've had relationships with chairs, my other colleagues in the 22 municipalities, and if you subdivide Newark, there's 5 different chairs representing the 5 different wards. So reaching out to all of them was the first thing I had to do, and I've had relationships with some of them in the past. So, I would say municipal chairs, and the way I look at it from that standpoint, they're stakeholders, right? Because all of your districts are a subset of your town. And each one of your district leaders, the way I envision it, is like the mayor of your blocks and neighborhood. So they have, they're the closest to what's going on, whether it is a street light out or a pothole needs to be filled, or what's going on, what's the buzz in and around your towns, right? So that's one hand. So that's all your democratic leaders. But then you should also, and I did, reach out to your local leaders, your mayors, your town councils. It really depends on the form of government. But I think that's, establishing those relationships for the convention, I've still reached out to folks now, and that's what I intend to do moving forward. Maybe it is a check-in at periodic times. I don't know yet. Hopefully we win, but once you're in the position, you'll kind of get a feel and a flavor for, of course, that frequency of engagement.
Of course. And you don't hesitate to reach out to people. You're personable, you're approachable. Sure. And I think that also helps in building those connections.
Absolutely.
And the fact that you've taken the time out to come and talk with us today, that also shows your willingness to meet and to connect. So, so just like me, I'm sure other people will appreciate as well.
Thank you. And you know what? And let's not just, elected party leaders or local officials. There's also groups, right?
Yeah.
That represent pockets or cohorts of people,
right,
that, I'm currently reaching out to and hope to engage even more as we go along, in elected service. So.
True. That's wonderful. So another thing that's happening is that there are 4 commissioners at large on for election this year on June 2nd for the primaries and for November. 1 is incumbent, 3 are brand new people. So assuming that the incumbent is re-elected, there will still be 3 new, fresh people at that table. If you are elected, you're one of the 3, how do you hope to navigate with the lack of or slightly less mentoring that you might be able to receive from just one person who is going to be a person of experience at the table?
That's a good question. Just to clarify, myself and 3 other people, Christine McGrath, Sean Klein, and Wayne Richardson, we're all running together under the Essex County Democratic Committee slogan. That being said, right, Wayne Richardson has served as the commissioner president before, and that's a strong amount of experience on leading the board, probably working through this legislative agenda, the mechanics, relationships, and even legislation that he's passed. That's important to tap into, I think, right? Because when you're going in, you can have your own ideas, and you should have your own ideas, but getting those ideas to the fore, as well as getting those policy ideas over the finish line, is important. But then also, hopefully, and by the way, I think that all 6 of us have the right intentions in mind. We want to serve, we want to lead our communities, right? With new folks, there's new perspectives and new voices, right? Myself with labor, I've been able to connect over the years with the workforce, whether at municipal level and other municipalities. Some of my other colleagues have local government experience, which is important, right? And how that connection between local government and the county, I don't have experience in that, so I'd be tapping them for that, right? And whether it's at the legislative branch in local government, as well as the as mayor, right? In this case, I'm thinking Christine McGrath as a councilwoman,
Yeah.
and Sean Klein as mayor. So, you know, there's a nice blend, there's a nice mixture there, right? And I would also be tapping into my own experience with respect to, you know, leadership in bureaucracies and administrative branch, you know, with my teaching in public affairs and administration. But then you also have your district commissioners, and we can't count them out.
That is true. That is true.
You have 5 district commissioners. They represent different parts of the county. They're obviously more focused on their particular districts, and you know, you sort of work in tandem with them.
True.
Right. And last but not least, it is a legislative board, a deliberative board. You need 5 votes.
You need 5 votes. Yeah.
Right. There's 9 commissioners. You need a majority to move things. So at the end of the day, you know, yes, we can bank on folks' experience. We can look at the districts, but you still have to work together. And that's key.
I think that's key. Absolutely.
Sure.
I think in any profession or any group that you are, ability to work cohesively is
Yes.
very, very important, and to be able to build consensus. Now, you were talking earlier before we started recording that this weekend, the upcoming weekend, it's forecasted to be raining, and how do you go knocking doors?
Right.
Because you've been canvassing, going door to door, introducing yourself to folks in different communities. People often say that candidates are very visible when they are canvassing and campaigning, and then they are not to be seen and unapproachable in between election season.
Sure.
How will you address that, and what can you say about that to our constituents?
So this is where I would lean into being a Democratic chair, because one of the things that I do as the Democratic leader for West Orange is I use that position and that sort of platform, right, to have our electeds come in and folks start their own relationship with their elected leaders, right? And that's what I plan to do on the other end of it, right? So if it is checking in with chairs, if it is checking in with local municipal leaders and other stakeholders, right? Again, like I said earlier, I would be doing that periodically. And I hope to use, whatever staff that we have, whether it's collective, I believe there's some that are collective for the county board of commissioners, as well as, individual folks that can tap into constituent groups. I think basically what I'm getting at is constituent relations is, to me, the hallmark of what you should be doing, right? It should not be a top-down, hey, I have all the bright ideas, and, because again, we can have 9 people with bright ideas, but if you can't come to a consensus, it's not going to pass, right? Versus, let's see what the people are talking about.
Exactly.
And my campaign, one of our slogans or hashtags, if you will, is Essex Strong, powered by you. Right? We want to hear from you. We want to connect you to services. We want to connect you to programming. And maybe, there are folks that have the same ideas, the same needs. So let's collect those together and use some cooperative
I think
measures.
Cooperative and collaborative is definitely the most optimal way of getting to a solution. And I think that's what I, as a voter, am also thinking, that if, I'm sure we all are right now living in our bubbles. So there must be something that we can do with each other or for each other.
Sure.
And we need to get to know the other municipalities, even the constituents, they need to know. So I'm hoping that our leaders who are representing us or are looking to represent us, they actually bring the communities together, the municipalities together, so that we also just don't hear about them. We actually are on the ground together with them, doing something, some activity, something shared. Like we talk about shared services, but shared life also in some way or the other.
Sure.
That's a very utopian dream that I have, but yes, I think, like you said, it's a very interesting, good, solid demographic slate that you're running on. So you will have enough advisors and guidance for you. And I'm happy that you're reaching out to the constituents and knocking doors. And are you phone banking also?
Yeah, we're making calls, and sometimes, look, to your point about campaigns, it's one thing to make calls right now versus, I've been a part of calls where you're checking in, and that's where, I think I've been fortunate thus far. Some of my outreach has been about, certainly there's been some introductions, right? I've certainly met new people. I've met yourself, and I really appreciate this opportunity to connect with voters and talk and share who I am, how I plan to do this job. But also there's the opportunity to reconnect and reintroduce, right? And then finally there's check-ins. If you've known folks for a long time, if you've known groups for a long time, if you've worked and advocated for their issues, sometimes a little check-in just to see, hey, everything good? You okay? Or what can we do better? Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So listening to what they need, and are they satisfied with what has been done for them so far, what is working and what is not working.
Absolutely.
So now the thing is, this brings us to, of course, the key need, that is communication, which is what you're talking about,
yes.
Communicating and connecting. But imagine a hypothetical scenario where you're in a big room, you are the commissioner-at-large, one of the commissioners-at-large, and the room has a different demographic of people. There are some developers, there are some angry taxpayers, there are Board of Ed people looking for funding, because everything, the price of life is going up. So say you sign some bill that one particular group of people is very upset about. So how will you navigate communicating with them and appeasing them so that they don't lose faith and they understand why you did what you did?
So that's where I would sort of lean into my background in labor relations. I mean, by nature, we could say, labor versus management can be adversarial, right? They have different interests. They don't have to be, they don't have to go after each other, right? But they have certainly different interests, right? But at the end of the day, it's about getting to yes. What can we, on both sides of the equation, or multiple actors, live with, right? And what can we sort of prioritize, right? And again, that's something that I think I can bring to the table that's a little bit different. I mean, I'm not saying that folks don't have that sort of experience in their in their professional lives or capacities or in their service thus far. But I've been a part of a lot of negotiations at different levels, whether it's the fire service, whether it is as a union leader at Rutgers. I mean, we even went on strike a couple of years ago, and we were part of that. And, and that had a lot of implications on, education and enrollment and so on and so forth. But also, I sat on a board at the state level that dealt with health benefits, employee health benefits, and definitely there was the relationship between what employees want versus management, in this case, the governor's office, and the responsibility that we all have, right, for providing something that's manageable and financially sound, but at the same time, something that's of high quality, cost that's reasonable, and access to everyone involved. So,
I think financial frugality or responsibility is something which I think the constituents are definitely looking for, considering the cost of living is going up.
Absolutely.
And Essex County is one of the highest taxes. I just found out that my town pays $40 million in taxes to the Essex County. That's a lot of money.
It is.
So then, of course, then my next thought was, where is that money applied? So for a county with a big budget of close to $1 billion, and highest real estate taxes in New Jersey State, I think, or one of the highest ones, I'm sure there will be an ask for accountability. So financial accountability as to where the money is going. I mean, like you cited in the at the beginning of the conversation, West Orange, the town that you come from, has the reservation, has the Turtleback Zoo, and has the reservoir and all that. And those are really, they attract a lot of crowd.
Yes.
So we are very grateful that we have places like this that are landmarks and that shine for us and make us look good. But again, is the revenue being generated, and where is that money going, etc. So I think that the fact that you are sitting here and having this conversation, and so are the other candidates, is actually very heartening, because you are actually putting yourself out in front of the audience and people who want to know who you are. Because a common theme that has come out in conversations and forums is that many people did not know what a commissioner-at-large did.
Right. Yeah.
So the fact that you're making appearances like this and you're going door to door and phone banking and just doing check-in calls is a good sign. And I am sure, like me, every other constituent of Essex County is hoping that this continues. Yeah. So that brings me to another question. So assuming that you are elected, good luck.
Thank you.
And you start your position as the Commissioner-at-Large, and you do a great job, and then you're re-elected, so another term. See, we are very far-sighted.
Okay.
we don't shortchange when we dream.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of joy in dreaming, so why not?
Sure.
And so, assuming all that happens, what would you want people to think and thank you for, that this happened because Abdur was at the table? What would be that one legacy that is very close to your heart that you'd like to leave or present to the people of Essex County?
That's a great question. I think I want to be known for how I engage folks, right? I mean, you certainly don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but
very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. But this process, even getting to this moment right here, having conventions, we were talking about it previously, different forums, different ways to even talk to, folks within the party and other folks that wanted to be a part of this process. I would say that it makes you feel like that it's something that has to go forward, right? In terms of, that much engagement. And for folks, that don't know, right? The role of a commissioner is very much like being on a city council.
That's right.
Or a town council, right? You're the legislative branch. You're there to approve the budget. You're certainly there to provide oversight over, the different departments. And again, to connect folks with, services and the different things that the county has to offer. And you certainly need to highlight the things that are happening in and around the 22 municipalities, right? I want to be known for squarely that. I don't want anyone to say, hey, you didn't do your job, right? Can I, and again, I stand by what I say in terms of, I don't want it to be something that's top down. Like, hey, I have this, I want us to be bold, sure. But I want things to come from us, to bubble from below, or bubble among us, because I don't feel like I'm any different than any other, resident here. And I just happen to be running for office. And I really want to be known for that.
How you connect with people. And that
Absolutely.
and that really lingers in people's minds and hearts, I think.
Yeah.
Because as I served on the Board of Ed in my town, when I retired from that position, one of the parents reached out to me and said, I'd like to meet you for coffee. So this was the month of January. I had just stepped away from the board. I'd retired. So I said to her, well, I'd love to meet for coffee, but I'm not on the board anymore. So if you're looking for, if you have a certain problem or something that you want to me to do something about, I won't be able to. So she said, no, I know that you're not on the Board of Ed anymore. I just want to meet with you and have coffee as a friend, and thank you because you always listened.
Yeah.
So I had not realized that it's just the kind of person I am. I like to talk and I like to listen too. So I did not realize that how deep that impact was of listening
Sure.
respectfully and patiently.
One of your constituents basically they're highlighting your service. And I
Yes.
think that's important,
That is important.
and that's what I would want to be known for.
And-
The fact that you've served, that even out of the position, right, you can still connect folks to where they need help, where they need assistance, and I think that's a legacy in and of itself,
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for throwing your hat in the ring and running for this position.
welcome.
We wish you all the very best. Thank you for taking the time to come and talk with us and to connect with our audience. I truly respect that also. I know you have a lot to do. So take care of yourself and
Thank you.
ballot position for
4E.
Four-
Ballot position 4E. And by the way, I always have time for the constituents. So this was quite the treat. And I do appreciate you providing this opportunity for myself and others to connect.
My pleasure. And like I said, this segment is elevating Essex. So
Yes.
it's my little offering to Essex County as I showcase the candidates. So thank you so much. Truly, truly appreciate your
Vineeta.
time. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning into OATS UNCUT. I hope you enjoyed this conversation and I hope you go out and vote on June 2nd. It's important to exercise the rights that you have to choose your leaders. Because if we don't choose our leaders, we don't have right to complain. All right. Stay well, stay safe. We shall meet again.
Thank you.